side of the coin, it's been a dark and stormy night in New Orleans. The only Arena League team yet to have won a football game this year, and they rank toward the bottom of every statistical category. So for veteran coach Vince Gibson, this will more than likely be his final game as the head man for New Orleans.
Well, it's been a tough year. Any time that you have lost 9 ball games in a row, you come in tonight, and all you want to do is be the spoiler. You want to be the one team that say that I stopped the Orlando Predators from being the home field team.
And there is a fellow by the name of Mickey Guidry playing quarterback this evening, who used to hail from LSU, who is capable of leading New Orleans to the win.
Yes, Mickey is a guy that has all of the ability, but he's got to stay away from the turnover. He's thrown 2 more turnovers than he had touchdowns this year, and that's really hurt the ball club. Tonight, he must stay away from the turnover.
Sunshine Network's presentation of tonight's matchup between the New Orleans Knights and the Orlando Predators is brought to you by Southeastern Copiers, your source for award-winning Toshiba copiers and fax. And by First Union, when it comes to service, everything matters.
There are 3 terrific Holiday Inns on the Gulf beaches where kids 12 and under can spend the night and eat for free with Lowe's Summer.
Visiting Orlando, and the football is on the tee. We await our kickoff. Harry Moss seeking an Arena League crowd, and Vince Gibson hunting respect. And this is the 10th week of the 1992 season. One of the top return men, Herky Walls, averaging better than 15 yards per return, to field the kickoff from Teddy Garcia, who proceeds to send it into the crowd. Penalty markers fly, and Orlando will own the football. 1st and 10 as we begin this evening, and that means that Ben Bennett will go to work right away, the number 2 ranked passer in the entire Arena League. And when these 2 teams hooked up on the 11th day of July, those were his numbers. 4 separate touchdowns and a 45-20 Orlando win. He is complimented by Jerry Odom along with Walls, Wagner, and Akins, and the rest of that lineup, and I hope you got it. Here is Bennett. 37 touchdown passes this season. 1st and 10. Reginald Wormsley, the lone setback, and the toss will come to him, trying to turn the corner, and he hurdles for a tough 3. And in this league, Matt, it's so tough to run. Few teams have been able to do it effectively in 8-man football.
Well, it's tough because you can't get outside. You're manning up 3 against 3 on the offensive line, and it's really tough to get outside.
Watch Reginald Wormsley, 235-pounder, who's rushed for only 40 yards this year. Big brute of a guy out of Southern Miss, but he attracted a lot of attention. And it was Henry Miller, the 200-pound defensive back, who got to him first. On 2nd down, just 3 men as you see, punched it along the line of scrimmage, and that's batted down at the line of scrimmage. It appeared to be D'Artagnan Wise, the defensive lineman there, number 65.
Well, he's got good penetration, got his hands up, and does what good defensive linemen do, is that's trying to get in the way of the pass, knock it down.
Watch D'Artagnan Wise on the left side.
As you see, he got great penetration into the pocket and got that left arm up and was able to knock the ball down.
Out of the University of Nevada at Las Vegas is D'Artagnan Wise, the top tackler this year for New Orleans. Pressure's on, they flip it out to Wormsley. They were playing off of Wise, and look at him fight across midfield and into New Orleans territory, hit by both Alvin Williams and Brian Wiggins for New Orleans. But it appeared that Ben Bennett and Orlando were playing off the aggressiveness of Wise. Simonavilla is on to attempt on 4th down what will be about a 47-yard field goal. 8 yards into the end zone. 33, adds 7 more to it, actually 40 yards. The official mark on this one. Brock sets it down. Simonavilla, the top kicker in the Arena League, misses. He hooked it to the left side, had plenty of distance, but on those narrow 9-foot wide uprights, Simonavilla hooks it left from 40 yards away. And here comes Mickey Guidry. And you said it was so important that moments ago for Mickey to avoid the turnovers. Last week he threw 4 separate interceptions. And the starters, Matt Martinez in the backfield. And the big cog is Brian Wiggins, their go-to guy, number 15. And he split to the top of your picture. Wyatt Harris breaks in motion. Guidry from his end zone with all the time in the world to throw. Goes deep down the field and it's just off the fingertips of Alvin Williams. Williams fast, but what about penetration? Guidry was all alone in his own end zone to throw that.
Well, he had plenty of time, and he sat back, and he made a good throw. He got the ball out there, and it should have been a catch.
Have a flag down. Our first opportunity to meet our referee, Carl Pagnelli Sr. tonight, working this game.
Legal defense on Orlando. First down.
Nat, I know this is your first Arena League game. The officials tell us there are 178 rule variations in arena football as opposed to the National Football League. And if you have linebackers in the gap, that is one of a number of illegal defenses that we could see. Guidry quickly up. Incomplete flag slide. The flag came from the far side of the field. The pass intended for Alvin Williams. Derwin Rockmore broke it up. The first two snaps, the first two penalties of the night, both against Orlando.
Holding number 23 on the defense. First down.
He probably meant there is no 23 on the defense, so we can pick it up. It's Rockmore that flag, or rather Tony Scott that flag was thrown on, 26. Wiggins in motion, no score. First down again, Guidry again deep. Inside the 5-yard line, takes it away from Wyatt Harris. Scott tied for the team lead entering this game. Makes his 8th interception.
We've got Wyatt Harris, and he's going down the sideline, and he's open for a moment, but Guidry doesn't get the ball outside, and you see Scott come back and go up and make a great interception.
And that was number 8, which hands him the team lead, Nat, on interceptors. Moves him into second in the entire Arena League.
And
on first down, Ben Bennett swings the quick pitch to Akins. He gets a block, and he battles his way to the 8-yard line. Hustling out there was Barry Wagner to lead the interference, but a big target in Barry Wagner, and that's effective the way Bennett stands up and fires it into the flat.
well, it's an opportunity where you try and get the ball to a guy that can run with the ball in a hurry and let him do his thing. He's got a blocker out front of him. He does a good job of reading the block and just fighting for that extra yardage.
A gain of 5 on the play. Ben Bennett's second completion this year. Second down and 5 inside his own 8-yard line. Wagner heads the other way. Bennett over the middle. And there for Wagner. He flips the tackle. He's to the 20. Still on his feet. Out of bounds inside the 15. Barry Wagner.
That's just great running by Barry Wagner after catching the football. Breaking tackles, going for that extra yardage, and that's the key. Once again, if you look at your replay, you've got Barry out to your left. He makes a great catch, and then he just breaks away. He's big and strong, and he has the ability to run with the football after catching. He refuses to go down.
The leading receiver on this Predator team turns with a strip of a tackle. That completion into a gain of 29. Timing run. Akins, touchdown! Against the wall. He may be knocked cold, but he held on to the football. Now you got to admire that, Matt Moore.
That's a great catch, and even more so, a fantastic throw. Here you see that the defensive player is in great position, but here's a perfect throw by Bennett where only Akins can catch it.
Akins made the catch and is up. How tough is that? 6-0 Orlando. Simonavilla on to add the PAT. And it's good. Orlando be joining us this evening at the half to talk about that telecast, which takes place tomorrow night at 7, right here on Sunshine. Guidry over the middle, caught, first down, spinning backwards. Rockmore holds Brian Wiggins back about 5 yards. His forward progress will be marked across the 20, out to the 23-yard line. Rockmore is so strong, he just spun little Brian Wiggins backwards.
Well, Wiggins just did a great job going down, turning in, and making the catch, making sure the catch, trying to stay away from the turnover, the tipped ball.
That's the third completion for Guidry on that gain of 9. He's 3 for 4. Lone setback, and Matt Martinez behind him. Harris in motion to the far side. Guidry backpedaling, throws too far for Alvin Williams. And there was Webby Burnett coming from the far side, applying the heat on Guidry, who suffers now his second incompletion. Those are his numbers this season. He joined the team midway through the year after playing in the World League out in Sacramento. He was the backup for David Archer there, was Guidry. He's only been sacked 3 times all year long. Does a good job of getting it away quickly, as he does here. First down. Fighting for the first is Alvin Williams. Tony Scott, the man who had the interception earlier, on the stop. Williams with his first catch of the night.
You know, Guidry really has a good arm. When he sets his feet and throws the ball, you know, he's on the money. You know, here you see him. He gets back. He gets set in the pocket. Good drop. He sets and throws. Ball's on the money. When you see him missing, he's throwing off his back foot. He's trying to get rid of it in a hurry.
Completion number 4 for McGinn. Now New Orleans is driving. Got a good thing going. Martinez swung out to take it down. Jeff Ross got there first. Is it a fumble? Yes, Orlando owns the ball. Another turnover net.
Yes, this is what has hurt this team all year. Is they haven't been able to take advantage of opportunities. They've put the ball on the ground, or they've thrown the interception. And once again, they've got a good drive going. They're moving the ball, and you've got a sweep to the left, a little quick pitch out, and the fullback puts the ball on the ground.
He was stripped by big Jeff Ross. The 260-pound defensive lineman just took it away from Martinez, and Orlando recovered. 2 first-quarter turnovers. Orlando capitalized on the first one with a touchdown strike from Ben Bennett to Carl Akins. What do they do here? Bennett fakes the pitch, floats it downfield, and threw it away. A busted play.
That was a very risky play. He threw it up for grabs, trying to avoid the sack, and he almost threw the interception.
Ben's been able to avoid the turnover himself this year. 37 touchdowns we showed you earlier. Only 10 INTs. Those his numbers thus far tonight. It was a 14-yard scoring toss, by the way, to Aiken. If you're just joining us, Carl went into the wall head first. It was okay. Herky Walls the other way. And it comes once, sets up the throw. Look at Ross, all alone. Touchdown! Jeff Ross left alone. The tight end eligible. And Ross, the defensive lineman, scores his second touchdown of the season. Two turnovers by the Knights, 2 TDs by Orlando.
Great call by the coaching staff of Orlando, where they trick him. They have a tight end eligible, and Ross just does a great job of catching the ball and looking like a receiver rather than a lineman.
I stepped it into the end zone.
Well, that was
Simonavilla. Timeout on the field. It is 14-0 as Orlando tears up New Orleans. Get the goal.
The kids of football without the pads. Australian rules football. Tuesday night on Sunshine Network.
In less than 12 minutes of football, New Orleans has suffered 2 turnovers, and Orlando's Ben Bennett has fired 2 touchdown passes. Sergei Simonavilla off the screen. Waiting on it is Elliott Searcy. It bobbles around. Loose ball, 3 ball at the bottom of the pile. If Orlando recovers, it's a touchdown, and it is! Carl Aikens, his second TD, and the route is on.
This is exciting football. I've never seen anything like this, and I tell you what, the NFL can take a page out of this book.
Spoken by a man who spent 13 years in the National Football League and not more. It is a free ball when it travels 10 yards, and as you know, if you follow the Arena League, if it comes off the screen, it's up for grabs. And
this is just who wants the ball. You know, you've got guys all on the ground. They're trying to get after it, but as you see, Orlando wanted the football, and they came up with it.
Simon Avila with 3 extra points. Orlando with 3 TDs.
Hi, I'm Jack LaLanne, and I've developed a better way to get in shape. It's my new Jack LaLanne stepper, and it's guaranteed to strengthen firm and tone your body into shape faster than ever. It's sensational. Look, my stepper has been designed to target the muscles in your hips and buttocks, thighs and calves, so every step is more effective. Burn body fat faster, lose calories, and develop firm, shapely muscles with one incredible exercise machine. Best of all, my stepper is so simple to use. Simply adjust the dial to your fitness level. Increase the stair height for an intense workout. Get the maximum workout in minimum time. Now through Telebrand, you can own the Jack LaLanne stepper for only 3 easy payments of $29.95. And if you order now, I'll also include this special instructional video. That's a $20 value, absolutely free. You know, there is a better way. The Jack LaLanne stepper.
Call 1-800-652-2112. 3 payments of $29.95 or send $89.85 plus $9.95 shipping. Sorry, no CODs accepted.
If you blink, you missed the touchdown. Carl Aikens recovering Elliott Searcy's kickoff. Fumble. What happens here? Searcy this time. 5. Pinball at the 8-yard line. We'll have another look in a minute of Aikens recovering the fumble by Elliott Searcy. Bill Stewart on the stop here. Watch this now.
Here you have it coming off, and Searcy just doesn't do a good job of handling the ball. And then you've got Wyatt Harris that really, he's just standing around. He doesn't want to get on the football, and all of a sudden, you've got Orlando all over it.
And at the bottom of the pile, number 84 in Aikens. His 5th TD of the year. The most improbable there. Guidry, guns, Harris, jitterbugging. Bulldog down by Rockmore. Harris a tough guy at 5'8", but they don't come any tougher than that guy in Rockmore.
Rockmore has proven all year that he's a great defensive ball player. He's a defensive specialist, and he's going to be around the ball somewhere tonight. And he's a guy that will hit you. He will put that hat on you and slam you.
You see, statistically speaking, he leads the stack of defenders in the 12-team Arena League. Guidry has it picked off by Tony Scott. Inside the 10-yard line to the 8-yard line. The 3rd turnover committed by New Orleans. The 2nd interception by Tony Scott in the 1st quarter alone. Vince, you're getting thin on top, and here's why.
Well, once again, Guidry tries to go to the well one time too many, and he comes back, he runs the same pattern, and Scott steps in front of Searcy and picks it off. You know, they keep running these curls and these little quick turn-ins. Eventually, you've got to go turn in and go or something to keep that defensive back honest.
New Orleans 0-9, and Orlando 8-1. Bennett floats. Mary Wagner. And Bennett's 3rd touchdown pass. Orlando's 4th TD in the 1st quarter.
Well, yeah, I think here that Ben Bennett really wanted to throw the alley-oop because Barry Wagner's a little bit taller, but he's so wide open that he didn't know what to do, whether to zip it in or throw it up and let him go up and get it.
The penalty by our referee, Carl Pagnelli, who really isn't into things this evening, was illegal celebration by Barry Wagner. Ah, come on. Let him have some fun. Carl without a sense of humor tonight. Simonovilia, his 4th extra point. That's 28-zip. And Simonovilia ranked as the top kicker statistically in the league, has 4 PATs, and there's the little route into the end zone. Here comes the celebration, Nat.
Well, it's just nothing but slamming the football and doing a little dance, you know, something we all practice in the clubs and et cetera. And, you know, I think the fans like it. I don't understand it.
You see, that was his 18th touchdown for Perry out of Alabama A&M. And every point scored this evening by Wagner and his happy band of Predators has been the direct result, Nat, of turnovers.
Yeah, we talked about that earlier, and I hate to keep harping on that, but you're talking about 3 turnovers, 3 touchdowns the other way, and just one situation where you're unable to handle the kickoff, and it's another touchdown. I mean, Orlando has done some good things, but they haven't really been challenged. They haven't had to do anything great because the New Orleans team is giving them the football game.
Simonovilia, who said that he has added 20 pounds to his frame after rooming with linemen Jeff Roth and Kurt Moll. They go to all those all-you-can-eat buffets, and he just keeps adding weight, boots it off the screen, and fighting his way. And Alvin Williams, Simonovilia has the football and scored! The kicker scored! He plays better with that ball, and he spikes it too. See that belly on him? Rooming with Jeff Roth. They clean out all the breakfast buffets, and now he's starting to look like a nose tackle, and he thinks that he can go in there and rumble with the big boys.
Well, I tell you what, that's a kicker's dream, you know, to be able to pick it up and go with it. And here you see him running with the football, and once again, I think Scott is the guy that shakes it loose, you know. He's all over the field, and the kicker picks it up, and look at him go. You'd think he's a fullback here. He's not to be denied.
Another turnover, another touchdown. 5 TDs. It's 34-0.
I'm willing to take odds on this that he missed this kick. You know, he could be a little winded after that run.
Brian Brock sets down the high snap, and Simonovilia, well, he got it through. He must have heard you.
He got it through.
We'll return after these words for Southeastern Copiers, your source for award-winning Toshiba copiers and fax.
Before your copier gets the best of you, get a better copier.
Recreational Factory Warehouse is overstocked, and we're announcing a sale that we hope we'll never have again. We've received extra shipments of special purchase pools and spas. Inventory levels are at the highest ever, and we must sell everything now with no reasonable offers refused. $1,000 pools just $567, $700 pools $386, and $400 pools just $148. All prices slashed up to 60% off with no reasonable offers refused. All sales are on a first-come, first-served basis. Giant inventory clearance going on now at Recreational Factory Warehouse.
Have you been exposed to toxic chemicals? Have you been injured in an automobile accident? You know someone that has a brain or a spinal cord injury? If so, you need to call us. At O'Brien & Hooper, we handle cases ranging from back injuries to chemical poisoning cases to brain and spinal cord injuries. Hello, I'm attorney Mick O'Brien. I care about your legal rights. These big insurance companies have trained professionals. You need someone to protect your legal rights. For a free consultation, call me right now. My number is 849-0167.
Hours a day, 70,000 of the best people on the ground are working to bring you the best service in the sky.
Orlando has recovered 2 muffs by New Orleans on kickoffs and scored both times. 35-0. Simon-Amelia just recovered one and fought his way into the end zone as Orlando establishes an all-time Arena Football League record for the most points in any first quarter ever. Wyatt Harris, a touchback. 1st and 10, New Orleans. And even that wasn't necessarily pretty. And they can smell blood, can Barry Wagner and the Predators. It's a feeding frenzy as our second quarter unfolds.
All right, this is when the game gets to be fun, when you just lay your ears back and you go after them.
Listen to the noise down at ground level here with this great crowd of better than 10,000 fans in the arena. This is when the quarterback's hear it. Can hardly hear himself. 5 turnovers for New Orleans. Guidry's thrown 2 interceptions. Nearly 3. Incomplete. Into the wall. Ryan Wiggins, the wide receiver, who came into this game saying, hey, we can be spoilers. We can beat Orlando. It's shoved from behind by Derwin Rockmore.
Guidry does a good job of coming out of the pocket because he feels pressure. And Wiggins is coming across, and once again, here's Rockmore. He's right around the ball. He's making the big hit.
Ryan Wiggins, ranking 3rd in the Arena League with receptions on the year. Came into this game with 66. Wyatt Harris holds on to it. A gain of about 8.5, if not 9, by Harris, the second leading receiver. And Tony Scott was the defender that hit her with 2 INTs in the early going this evening. There's Tony. And 1 touchdown. Pardon me, he did not get into the end zone. Good shot.
I'll tell you, Tony Scott's doing a great job of playing cat and mouse with Guidry. You know, he's backing off, and then all of a sudden he's settling and sitting on the route, and that's how he came up with that second interception. That time you see him back off and give the receiver some room.
3rd and needing 2, and getting some help from Orlando's big Rusty Russell. That'll be a first down. Rusty, a little too anxious, the 300-pounder out of South Carolina.
Number 77 defense.
Comes right on through and gets Guidry in.
Yeah, Rusty just wanted to have some fun there. Everybody's getting in on big plays, and he was trying to get one himself. He wanted to come up with the sack and was a little early there.
No one's bigger than his number 77 at 6 feet, 6 inches tall for Perry Moss and his playoff-bound Predators. There will be a game here next Friday night. You can buy your tickets and bank on it because last night Sacramento upset Cincinnati. Guidry, deep for 6. Into the wall. Did he hold on to it? Yes. Great catch. Alvin Williams, touchdown New Orleans. The second player we've seen tonight go hard into the wall. Williams holds on. Touchdown Knight.
Here you see Alvin Williams do a great job of maintaining his concentration, staying with the ball. And it shows you, again, that Guidry has the ability. It's up and over. It's thrown only where Alvin Williams can catch it. If he doesn't come down with it, it's an incomplete pass. And that's what has to happen. That's what Guidry has to do more of.
A 25-yard touchdown pass. Guidry with his first scoring strike this evening. Here is the NFL veteran Teddy Garcia to boot through the PAT. And he can't do it. It bangs off the upright. It's no good. Timeout on the field. 12-14 remaining in the first half. And Orlando in command. We'll return after these words for the Omni Hotel at Centroplex. Call 1-800-THE-OMNI for information about their Starstruck package.
Orlando, Florida. Exciting, entertaining, the Hollywood of the East. There's no better way to see the magic than at the Omni Orlando Hotel at Centroplex. The Omni Starstruck package includes a deluxe guest room for 2 nights, full American breakfast for 2, and 2 tickets for either Universal Studios Florida or SeaWorld. All for just $49 per person per night. Let the Omni Orlando treat you like a star. Call 1-800-THE-OMNI.
You know, Florida gives us a great climate for growing.
Yep. We've got a very fertile climate for banking, too.
Oh, yeah. There's lots of banks that have come here.
Yeah.
But you take a look at First Union. Now, there's a bank. It's growing.
But they're growing smart.
And they're working with us for the long term.
Yep.
And there's lots of people here that live here and work here, but they weren't born here.
I like it. We can get the good ones to stay.
The good ones.
In New York City, they're so hard to come by, they're handed down from father to son. In Boston, they're negotiated in divorce settlements. In Chicago, people read the obituaries hoping to find a pair. Hockey season tickets are now available to see the Tampa Bay Lightning. How are you going to get yours?
For season tickets, call 229-8800.
New Orleans is finally on the board as Ricky Walls plays it off the netting. Running room and sliding to the 15-yard line. We mentioned to you earlier, D'Artagnan Wise makes the tackle, that Sacramento upset Cincinnati 55-48. That assures Orlando of hosting an Arena League playoff game next week. Cincinnati was 7-2 entering that game. Sacramento just 3-6. Thus, Orlando right now, with a win tonight, probably will be the top seed throughout the playoffs. New Orleans, San Antonio are already having been eliminated. 8 teams go. And it's Detroit, Orlando, and Arizona. The more than likely will be the 3 division winners. Bennett deep for 6. Into the crowd. Threw it behind Carl Akins, who's jawing with Lolo James, the defender.
Well, that's what happens when you get a route like this. You know, the defensive players are a little upset because they're being abused, and the offensive players are feeling good about themselves. But what I like there that Bennett did is that he was covered, and he threw the ball away. He threw it high and outside where if his man can't catch it, no one can catch it.
Lolo James out of New Mexico State. Ben Bennett, who's thrown for 89 yards already. Floats it underneath. Herky makes the catch and is knocked down. But not after Walls earns the first down. Walls with his very first catch tonight. Henry Miller from the secondary made the stop.
Okay, this is a crossing route where Herky Walls comes across, and what they're trying to do is run everybody out and let him catch it and run with it with that great speed he has, but the defender was right there as he caught it and made the tackle. But we did see him get the first down.
Little Herky, 4 years with the Houston Oilers and a season in Tampa Bay. Jerry Odom throwing back to his quarterback, Ben Bennett. And Bennett's inside the 20-yard line down to the 19. Razzle-dazzle and a good stick by Alvin William. And Bennett with a smile on his face, the completion by Odom. But you have to question why you would hang your highly rated quarterback out like that and put him at the mercy of the defense.
Well, I think Coach Perry Moss just want to put some things in the mind of the next
illegal touching. Quarterback is ineligible to go downfield. Catch the ball.
Excuse me, Coach, Mr. Referee, another of those 178 rules that few are familiar with.
Toss it down. Second down.
The quarterback is ineligible.
Right. This is just a handoff, and they toss it back to the quarterback. They're hoping to get the defense to flow and give Ben Bennett a chance to catch the ball and run down the sideline. But I think what Perry Moss is doing, he's just trying to put some thought into whoever their opponent is next week so that they've got a lot of looks when they're looking at film next week, so they can't concentrate on just the things that Orlando does the majority of the time.
The third penalty tonight. Now Ben Bennett, who is allowed to throw the ball, fires here at Walls. Not this time. Too far. Get off the wall there, Herky. You're right in terms of preparation time for the playoffs. If you can make a team take a couple of minutes out of their hour and 45-minute, 2-hour practice schedule, just working on something else, it has to be to your advantage.
Right. You just want to give them some thought that will keep them from concentrating on the things that you really like to do. And the more trick plays you put in, the harder that defense for the opponent has to work to try and figure out how they're going to stop it.
3rd and 10, as you see. Jumping D'Artagnan Wise. Free play. Intercepted. Won't count. Picked off by Lolo James. As D'Artagnan, all for one for all, is in the backfield too early.
Three-yard penalty, offside, on a defense, 3rd down.
You know, there was a great play where Ben Bennett showed you just how intelligent he is. He knew he had the free play. He tried to go up top when the man was covered because he knew that if he didn't complete it, they had the 5 yards in the bank anyway.
9 minutes remaining in the first half. Barry Wagner, always dangerous in motion. Bennett the other way. Miscommunication with Carl Aiken. The 2nd time in this drive, he's thrown it behind him.
Yeah, I think that Ben was expecting him to turn out, and he turned in. And one thing about a sharp quarterback like a Ben Bennett, he has the ball in the air early, and if they are not on the same page, that's what you get, incomplete.
Here comes a 37, if not 38-yard attempt by Simon-Avila. He missed earlier from that range there of 40. He's kicked 13 field goals this year. Flags fly. We may have delay a game. Let's wait and see. Carl Pagnelli still trying to get the call right. Here it is.
Procedure, penalty.
Perhaps movement of the football by the center. Simon-Avila's numbers this season. Now, don't be misled by the fact he's only 13 of 32. At times, because there is no punting in this league, if you're deep back next to your own goal line, you will kick the ball as a field goal attempt, but hook it in the crowd, just playing field position.
Right, because they have no punting, you know, a guy like Simon-Avila does a great job of just being able to kick it out, the same as the Coffin corner kick.
40 yards, the distance this time. No. Off to the right side. So Jorge has missed twice from 40 yards away. Your score remains Orlando 35-6 on this final day of the regular season for the Predators. If you'd care to join us in the arena for the playoff game,
Your cat may scat, but she leaves her hair behind. Get rid of it with Power Picker Upper by Telebrand. Power Picker Upper picks up hair, picks up crumbs, picks up dirt. It's so strong, it'll even pick up these coins. The miracle substance, ZR7, never wears out. No tape to replace, no mess to empty. Can your vacuum cleaner pick up pet hair? Power Picker Upper never misses. Add this telescoping handle to reach high and low without bending or straining. For your clothing, you get this personal picker-upper with convenient swivel head. You also receive not one, but 2 pocket picker-uppers that fit neatly anywhere you go. You get them all for only $19.95. Order now.
To order, have your credit card ready and call 1-800-652-2112. Or send check or money order for $19.95 plus $4.50 shipping and handling to Power Picker Upper, 5555 American Way, Roanoke, Virginia. Or call 1-800-652-2112.
As we were saying before we were interrupted, we welcome you back to the Orlando Arena. 6.5 minutes to go in the first half. 35-6 your score. And if you'd like to join us, there will be a playoff game next Friday night right here at 7:30. More than likely against Arizona. Completion to Elliott Searcy. Close to the first down marker as Gidry begins to move the team again. for tickets, call 407-872-7362. 872-7362. There are seats available. Hope to have you along. Friday night at what will be a rather raucous Orlando Arena. Guidry's numbers this evening, he has completed 9 passes for 82 yards, 1 touchdown, but unfortunately has hurled 2 interceptions. Both led the scores by Orlando. Pumps once, zips it too high. Against Searcy, the intended target. Well defended there, Nat, by big Barry Wagner at 6'3".
Yeah, Barry's a big guy, and when he can get back and just, shadow him like a basketball player, get in front of him, it's impossible for Searcy to even see the football at that point.
Searcy stands 5'8". Wagner's a half foot taller.
Yeah, he's about 6'3", 6'3 and a half, 220 pounds, and it's tough for Searcy to see over.
Who was the biggest defensive back you ever went up against?
I think Mel Blount, and he was one great defensive back. Big, strong, and here you see Searcy does a great job of going up for the football, but Wagner's just too big for him.
Mike Lindsay, the fullback, for the first down, close to the 20-yard line. Lindsay, a 235-pounder, stopped by the linebacker in Jerry Odom.
That's another old Florida grad that's doing a great job for the Orlando Predators. And
we got Nat Moore upstairs. We've got Webby Burnett, Jeff Roth, who scored a touchdown, the lineman this evening, Henry Brown, Jerry Odom, all sorts of Gators here tonight. Way too high for Wyatt Harris. There was all sorts of heat on Mickey Guidry, who is just now getting back to his feet as that pocket collapsed around him.
Yeah, they put a lot of pressure on him that time, and he wasn't able to step up and really throw the ball without being hit, and he threw the ball outside trying to stay away from that INT, and he just missed his man again.
Less than 4 minutes, pardon me, Nat, remaining in the first half.
Hey, Mickey is really having a tough night, but in football there's a saying that you always got another half, and if you can play just as good as you did bad the first half, you got a shot.
There's Odom. Go Gators.
This is called turning the big dogs loose. As you can see, they're coming after him with the front 3, and they're bringing the linebacker, and Guidry just doesn't have time to throw the football. Odom lines up in there, he comes on the snap, and there's no one to block him. He's just a free blitzer where the fullback doesn't pick him up.
Mike Lindsay did not pick up Jerry Odom. The top sack man on the year for Orlando earns his 6th sack there, and it's 3rd and very long after the loss of 6. Guidry flushed, fires upfield, caught inside the 20, down to the 18-yard line by Elliott Searcy. Made the tough catch. Guidry had to run around there, just did get it away. Tony Scott made the stop on Searcy. That's a good throw on the run.
Right. Guidry here shows a lot of mobility, and he gets outside of the pocket, and with a lot of heat, gets a lot of velocity on the football. And Searcy just lays out and makes a great catch.
For Searcy, that's his 3rd catch of the night, the 10th completion by Mickey. 4th down and 9. Guidry zips. He's got a first down. It's 1st and goal inside the 10-yard line as the sliding grab is made by the big target of Richard Estelle out of Kansas. Derwin Rockmore was there, but this was perfectly thrown.
Yeah, he's got plenty of time to throw the football. He steps and he throws it down and away where only the receiver can catch the football here. Good job by Mickey Guidry.
A gain of 10. Less than 2 minutes remaining in the first half. New Orleans trailing 35-6 as we near intermission, trying to get 7 on the board. Here's the blitz again, and Guidry throws it away. This time it was Bill Stewart, the linebacker, number 33, rather than Odom, but he got through nonetheless, and stumbling was crabbing toward Guidry.
Yeah, he did a great job of not giving up on the sack, and he just kept coming even though he was off his feet. And Orlando's just doing a great job with their front 3 and their linebackers of mixing up their blitzers and putting pressure on Guidry where he can't get the ball off. But this is more a great coverage incompletion here because everybody's covered and he just has to throw it away because he had time.
Second down and goal with 60 seconds remaining in the first, and Guidry over talking to his coaching staff. That's Ken Meyer he's talking to, former head coach of the San Francisco 49ers. A pause in the action.
Hi, I'm Joe Torre. My professional life is baseball. My home life is my wife and daughter. Because of them, I'm helping to fight a terrible disease called lupus that threatens mostly women. Lupus strikes over 50,000 women a year. It destroys their immune system so that the body attacks itself organ by organ. Lupus can start as early as 14 years of age and throughout the childbearing years. Early diagnosis of its symptoms is important. Send for our free booklet, 11 Quiet Alarms, that describes these symptoms. Help support the Lupus Research Institute to find a cure and protect your family against lupus. Write the Lupus Research Institute, P.O. Box 838. That's P.O. Box 838, South Norwalk, Connecticut, 06854. Or call 1-800-82-LUPUS. That's 1-800-82-LUPUS. 1-800-82-LUPUS. Call now.
We welcome you back to the Orlando Arena. Mickey Guidry firing too high, too strong for Richard Estelle, incomplete. Coming up at the half, an opportunity to visit with the newest managing general partner of the Orlando Predators, Don Disney. Acquires a majority interest in this team today, and Commandant Jerry Mullins will preview the Kerrygold Dublin Horse Show for us as well, which will air tomorrow night on Sunshine. A flag thrown prior to the snap. The clock did not move.
Approachment on the defense.
It's third and goal, so the penalty of 3 yards will move the ball from the 8.5 to the 5.5-yard line. I didn't get a number on the particular defender who jumped the line of scrimmage prior to the snap. On third and goal, standing close to 6 yards away and trailing 35-6. New Orleans. Guidry zips, knocked away, incomplete, intended for Alvin Williams, broken up by Barry Wagner. Oh, he got around Williams agilely and swatted it away.
Yeah, Barry Wagner was beat on this play, but he showed a lot of agility by being able to spin back out and dive out and knock the ball away. As you can see, Williams is open here, and Wagner has turned inside and ball's thrown outside, but he makes a diving deflection of the ball.
New Orleans has called timeout. And again, Guidry comes to the sideline, trying to find a way to punch that ball into the end zone. And with Nat Moore here this evening, the all-time leading receiver in Dolphin history, it's appropriate that we invite you to join us for the kickoff edition of the Miami Dolphins Monday Night Magazine. This is a very big football weekend in Orlando. The Dolphins face the defending Super Bowl champion Washington Redskins here in the Citrus Bowl tomorrow night. I know, Nat, you will be at that game, and we'll be on the air Monday night to talk about it. But the Skins and the Dolphins, the football season's here already.
Right, it is it's time, and you know, it's what everybody's been waiting for. You know, the Dolphins had a rough year last year, and Don Shula is really excited about his new ball club. They've made some good picks in the draft, and they're hoping to get them in there, and they feel that they're going to be ready to play football this year, that they're ready to challenge for that title in the AFC East.
Alan Schwab, the owner of the Charlotte franchise, looking on this evening. We certainly wish the Dolphins well, and we're all pumped up about tomorrow night's ball game here. They've sold better than 60,000 tickets, by the way, for the Skins and the Dolphins. Flush, Guidry, guns, incomplete, in and out of the hands of Brian Wiggins. He should have had it for the touchdown. He was open, and it went right through his glove.
Oh, that's the way things are. When things are going bad, no matter what you do, you end up on the short end. You know, Guidry does a great job of moving around, avoiding the rush, you know, and then he makes the great throw here. He's throwing on the run, which is probably the most difficult throw in football, and he hits Wiggins right in the hand, and he doesn't come down with it. Now, Wiggins has to come down with that football because Guidry needs some help. You know, you have to help your quarterback out when he's having a tough night as a receiver.
Orlando takes over on downs, leading 35-6. A golden opportunity. Walks out the door on New Orleans and opens the door, really, for Ben Bennett. Watch him go to work. There's one to Wagner. And when you're playing on just a 50-yard football field, it doesn't take long to be in scoring range, does it?
Yeah, it's kind of tough to play a prevent defense on a 50-yard football field. And, you know, if they set back with Ben's ability to throw the football and pick defenses apart, they'll move right down the field and score another touchdown. 39 seconds is a lot of time in arena football.
A gain of 13. Wagner with his third catch of the first half. Less than 40 seconds remain. Bennett right back to him. 8 more. Now, as long as the defense backs up in the former Lolo James, he'll just keep going to Wagner.
All right, they're backing off, playing soft, and Bennett is just doing a good job of getting it to Wagner. Wagner's getting as much as he can, stepping out of bounds, stopping the clock. You know, that play took 3 seconds and gained 8 yards.
36.2 remaining in the first half. 35-6. And the master, Ben Bennett, throws 3 in a row, right in front of Lolo James. You've got to respect him somewhat, but these are 8 and 10-yard shots.
Well, I think Lolo is worried about that curl and go, so he's staying back there and trying to play the defense because they're playing a soft zone. And, you know, Ben Bennett is just staying with Wagner all the way and said, if they're going to give it to us, we're going to take it. We're just going to play throw and catch here.
Now you're in a position, if you're Ben Bennett, with 33 seconds left, throw it into the end zone. You got man coverage over there on Wagner. Does it go right back to him a 4th time? No, they run it inside. Stewart to the 7-yard line. He lost the ball when he hit the ground. No fumble. Mike Lenzer made the stop for New Orleans.
Here's just a quick trap on a draw, and he comes through there with plenty of running room. He comes down, and as you can see, the ball comes out after he hits the ground. And in football, the ground cannot cause the fumble. Once you're down, play's over.
Stewart, who carried there, is the 2nd leading rusher on the year. Has scored a couple of touchdowns, the 215-pounder out of the University of Central Florida. He platoons with Jerry Odom. That is a solid tandem for Orlando in its running game. As running games go in this league, which is nearly an all-pass assemblage. 3 Ben Bennett touchdown passes and 2 kickoffs fumbled by New Orleans, recovered by Orlando for touchdowns. Those are the 5 TDs of the first half. In fact, they were all 5 coming in the first quarter. Number 5 wants to add another one here. Less than half a minute remaining. He throws. Wagner, touchdown! No! He's out of bounds. Wagner thinks he was shoved by Alvin Williams over the sideline.
Here you see they go back to the play that they scored earlier on where they just try and throw the alley-oop, figuring that Wagner can out-jump the defender, which he does, but he's not able to come down inbounds, and you know, he felt like he was being pushed, but as you can see in the replay that he was going to be out anyway. His momentum carried him out, not Williams.
It's 3rd down for Orlando. And it again, Wagner touchdown this time. Harry Wagner.
As you can see, they believe in the alley-oop. They believe in Wagner and his ability to go up and take the ball away from Williams. And here we go again. They go right back to the same play that he just missed the touchdown when he was out of bounds.
From 7 yards away, Ben Bennett hurls his 4th touchdown pass.
If you watch this replay, what he does is he brings his split down, which gives him more room, and they come right back to the play. They hit it before, but he was out of bounds, so he closed the split down and gave himself more room outside.
Wagner
Easy 6.
Scoring an easy 6 for the 2nd time. in this game. Seminovilia with his 6th extra point of the first half alone. 42-6 with 21 seconds remaining. As that banner's appropriate, Seminovilia and the Predators are clawing New Orleans. So for those of us who thought Orlando, playing a team that had yet to win a game, might come in flat, you can forget that.
Well, I don't think Orlando came in flat. They came in sky high, but I think the New Orleans Knights came in with one foot in the parking lot and thinking about the offseason.
The plane home. Let's go to the beach. A 6-play drive for Orlando.
Once again, you see the little quick pass alley-oop where Wagner goes up, just takes it away from William, and you know, they just cannot match up with these receivers that Orlando has. Orlando has tall receivers, except for Herky Walls, that can go up and take the ball away, and Ben Bennett is the type of guy that knows how to take advantage of a situation, and he continues to do that.
And Barry Wagner, taking advantage of the New Orleans secondary, has 6 catches in the first half and has scored 2 touchdowns. Seminovilia.
Oh, good catch.
Bangs it past the end line, out of play. Collisions down there. The ball went through the end zone. It's tough to see down there with the corner jutting out. What have it? It's almost like a baseball corner, the way the ball can rattle around, but the ball went across the end line and will be spotted at the 5-yard line.
I'll tell you, tonight has been a perfect example of...
And there's that end zone, by the way, not to interrupt you, but go on ahead.
All right. Tonight's been a perfect example of teams that really want it. When you talk about good football teams, you look at their special teams and how they cover kicks. And if you look at the two teams and the difference, you've got one team that's coming down and making plays, and you've got another team that's not challenging.
Ryan Wiggins on the receiving end there. A gain of 16 yards. Nice catch and run with the ball.
Yeah, he does a good job of running the defender off, making the sure catch, keeping his feet moving, spinning, turning, trying to make something happen. And that's what New Orleans needs. They need more Wiggins that's trying to atone for some of their earlier mistakes.
There have been all sorts of mistakes committed by Vince Gibson's club. We saw him earlier today. He was having lunch with Lee Corso, the former head coach in Louisville and Indiana, who now commentates for ESPN. They go way back together.
Yeah, I think he was talking with Lee a little bit on what could he do to motivate this team to come out with some fire tonight, and whatever it was that Lee told him, it didn't work. You're looking at a team that really has not come to play tonight. You could see that they have talent, but they've got to turn it loose, and they've got to be willing to start looking toward next year tonight. This is how you get better in tough situations, giving it all you got.
13 seconds and counting remaining in the first, so Guidry airs it out, and it's picked off. Derwin Rockmore, why not? Let's bring it in. Still on his feet. Laterals it back to Tony Scott. He's got running room. Scott for the end zone. Touchdown! This is unbelievable. The final play of the first half typifies our first 2-pointers. A turnover that turns into a TD.
Here you see Mickey Guidry once again trying to make something happen. He pump fakes, but he throws it right into coverage. Rockmore is sitting there playing his coverage, comes up with a big interception, and decides to bring it out. And here's a heady play where he decides to, let me just ladder it over to my teammate and let him run with it for a while. And as you see, Scott's done a phenomenal job not only of covering tonight, but he's a great little runner after getting his hands on the football.
The 50-yard indoor war ends the first half with a 50-yard interception for a score. Back after this from First Union. When it comes to service, everything matters.
Let me tell you, he hates change. I think we originally moved to Florida because he doesn't even want the seasons to change. But try this. For years, his sister in St. Augustine says, you ought to change to First Union. His cousin said he wanted change to First Union. But change? Well, now he's happy because our bank's become part of First Union, and he thinks they made the change for him.
They did.
Before your copier gets the best of you, get a better copier.
Orlando, Florida.
SeaWorld last night. We're having a good time in the O-Arena this evening, and congratulations to the Saunders family. George and the whole clan, they won the contest, and they're headed to SeaWorld of San Antonio, an opportunity to compare the two theme parks. All right, the numbers from the first half of PlayNet, surprisingly, they're quite even, especially in light of the score that's 49-6 in favor of Orlando.
Well, I think, you know, the fact that New Orleans has turned the ball over time and time again, and have really been hurt in the kicking game, has led them down the path of no return. If you look at the first downs, New Orleans has more first downs than Orlando.
A new Arena League record, 49 points.
49 points is a lot of points to score in 2 ball games. What's more in the first half of this ball game, and you have to give it to the Orlando Predators. They came out, they were ready to play. There was no laying down, taking New Orleans for granted, and they've done a bang-up job tonight where New Orleans just can't seem to get it done.
3 times this year, Vince Gibson's team has surrendered more than 60 points in a loss. They've lost every game this year, so obviously their losses. 64 to Tampa Bay, 66 to Detroit, 67 in Albany, New York. That is a bad trip to upstate New York, Vince, to not only get beat, but to surrender 67. And your team is headed in that direction right now, trailing 49-6. New Orleans will enjoy possession of the football first as the second half begins, and as you can see, both teams headed out onto the field, and that gives us an opportunity to invite you to join us this Monday evening at 7 o'clock for the first of 20 chapters of the Miami Dolphins Monday Night Magazine. We'll review the game that opens up the exhibition schedule tomorrow night that is played with the Washington Redskins here in Orlando in the Citrus Bowl, and preview the rest of the season as well. And team owner Tim Robbie, among others, will join us and take your phone calls live on Sunshine. That's 7 o'clock Monday night. Looking forward to joining you then. For the 7th time this season, Ben Bennett has hung some pretty big numbers on the board.
Yeah, he's had 40 points 7 times this year, but, you know, that's a perfect of the execution that the Orlando team has. You know, the ability to bend to throw the football, but also for people to get over, catch the football, and do something good with it. He's got a good host of receivers that know what to do once they get their hands on the football.
And an opportunity to visit with fans here. Hasn't been all him. His kicker has run into the end zone with a loose ball for a touchdown, and we saw a 50-yard return, Rockmore lateraling to Scott. Alvin Williams ran out of daylight and into the wall at the 10-yard line. Carl Akins was the first man there. Charles Tobias, too, along with linebacker Jerry Odom. So Mickey Guidry returning in the second half. Guidry's numbers in the first, he threw for 115 yards, 12 of 24. Upstairs, caught right on the fingertips, Alvin Williams. Out to the 15, 20-yard line, and close to make it the 23-yard line, the first down marker.
Here's another good throw, and he really gets a lot on the ball, even throwing off his back foot. You know, Mickey Guidry has a tendency to throw off the back foot, and sometimes the ball hangs, and that's why he ends up with so many interceptions. But here he gets it out there, and and the catch is made.
I'll bring on the yard markers and see if on his first snap of the second half, Guidry picked up a first. We'd like to give a Predator hello to Ken, Irene, and Evan Kellner watching the game tonight in Gainesville. Some more Gators there, Nat.
Well, don't you know this is Gator country? You know, you talk about all these other universities in the state of Florida. There's only one real university, and that's the University of Florida.
There you go. We have the Hurricanes here on Sunshine, as well as Bobby Bowden Seminoles. I'm looking forward to going up there to Tallahassee for Media Day in a couple of weeks. The season begins in a month. Charles Tobias was shaken up on the play. Walking to the sideline, 295 pounds of muscle. Out of Triton Junior College. Wyatt Harris, along with Elliot Searcy, flanked to the far side. Alvin Williams to the bottom of your picture. Penalty markers. This may have been Kurt Moll. Across the line of scrimmage early.
Encroachment on a defense.
It was Kurt.
First down.
So first down and 7 after the 3-yard step off. And for Orlando, the 7th penalty this evening. Guidry zips it. It is caught by Wiggins. Trying to pick up yardage, loses a couple after the gain of 12. Osorio Jackson chopped him down right at the 15, 16-yard line.
You've got Harris, Wiggins, they're all isolating, doing a turn in, and Guidry does a good job of getting the ball because he's getting hit just as he's throwing and still gets a lot of zip on it. He's doing a better job of hanging in the pocket and delivering the football.
The 14th completion tonight for the Mick. And Alvin Wiggins has hauled in 3 of those. The Heat, he's been pulled down. Flags fly. He shuffled it incomplete. Headed toward Mike Lindsay, number 32. It was Jerry Odom blitzing that had Guidry by the jersey. There's a holding call, the preliminary indication from our referee.
That front 3 of Orlando really come to play tonight. They're just destroying the pocket and they're getting in there. And that was pretty creative on Mickey Guidry's part to take it underhand and shovel it to try and avoid the sack. But they still got called for the holding.
Holding. New Orleans. Penalty decline. Second down.
As you can see, here comes Big 77, and he's got his jersey, he's got both 7s, and he still is not going to be denied. He gets in and forces Guidry to get rid of the football.
It was Rusty Russell, number 77, rather than Jerry, who had the jersey. Second down and 10 inside the Orlando 16. Guidry, look out. Odom's charging. Incomplete off the outstretched left arm of Brian Wiggins. Rockmore was right behind him inside the 10-yard line.
Once again, Orlando comes with the blitz. They bring Jerry Odom right up the middle. There's no one there to block it. And he flushes Guidry out of the pocket. And he's throwing off balance. He's throwing on the run, which makes it a tough pass. And, it's impossible to set his feet and throw the football, so he's not going to be as accurate as he could be.
New Orleans has taken timeout less than 3 minutes into the second half in a game in which the Knight trails 49-6. Jerry over to talk to the coaching staff, and you see the Knight offense pulled over to their offensive coordinator Ken Meyer, along with Vince Gibson joining the huddle in the center of your screen.
They're having a lot of communication problems on the offensive line as far as the blocking scheme go, where you just don't have a free blitzer come free as much as they have tonight. And they've got to figure out a way to pick up that blitzing linebacker and give Guidry some time to step up and throw the football so he can hit his receivers. They've been able to get open, but he just haven't had the time to deliver the football.
Mike Lindsay, number 32, on more than one occasion, the blocking back has, for whatever reason, whether he hasn't seen the linebacker or thought he had a different assignment, perhaps he did. Nonetheless, he has missed the linebacker coming through, and Guidry's having to scramble.
Well, I think you have to give Orlando credit. You know, they're mixing it up pretty well where they're bringing both linebackers, and he's just not sure which one is coming, and he's taking that false step, and then it's too late. He can't get back to pick that linebacker up. Well, that last play, he stepped to his right, Jerry Odom came left, and it was too late. He couldn't get back.
It has never been this loud in the New Orleans Superdome for a night football game. One of the problems I think they've had on the road, they're playing in these smaller arenas. It's tough for them to execute. Guidry off his back foot throws, and it's picked off by Tony Scott. What a night Tony Scott is enjoying.
And this is his third INT tonight, and here's an indication where he was beat. He was beat, but he didn't give up on the play. He kept coming. Guidry underthrew the ball, and he comes up with the interception. Once again, you'll see Guidry, he's throwing off his back foot, and he doesn't get it out there. Brian Wiggins is open, and he's got to get it up and over for the touchdown. This gives him 10 interceptions, and it leads the AFL this year, and, you know, he is just a fierce competitor that refuses to be beat.
Never played football in college. Semi-pro experience. That was it. We have a new quarterback in Ryan Brock. And his first toss of the night is complete to Herky Wall. Take a look at Brock. He's out of Texas Tech, 29 years old. He has thrown but 18 passes this year, completed now a dozen of them, and has hurled 3 touchdown passes, about 100 yards now if you add the gain there. 95 actually. It was a pickup of 3 for Brian Brock. So a rare opportunity to play for Brian. And out to make the most of it, he sings it right on the money for a first down inside the 20 and down to the 15 to Tony Scott.
Tony Scott has ran one in for a touchdown, and now he's turned receiver, and he's showing him how it's supposed to be done. After picking off 3, he felt he might as well go and be a receiver. As you can see, he gets down, he's got him beat, he's got his ball thrown perfectly to the inside where the defender have to come through him, and he just stays with it, makes the catch.
A gain on the play of 31 yards. Brock on the scissors. This is Brian Moore. Trapping inside the 10 down to the 8. Brian Moore out of Florida A&M. Familiar to Rattler fans. The 200-pounder who's been injured for a great portion of this season enjoys his first carry of the year.
This is just a great, innovative way to run the football. As you know, it's tough to run the football in arena football, but when you come back with that scissor trap, it gives you a lot of running room.
Brock hit from behind, and it flutters to the ground, incomplete. Lamar Davis, number 87, hit Brock's arm just as he was throwing.
I think that was really another time when things are good for you, because James Lolo was all over that out route by Tony Scott and was in position to go for the pickoff.
Actually shoved a blocker into Brock rather than hitting his arm. On third down, needing 3, Odom for 6. Touchdown, Orlando. Jerry Odom bolts into the end zone with his 4th rushing touchdown of the year. to 6 Predators.
Here you see just a quick toss out and a great hook block here. And he just scats into the end zone.
On the year, Odom among the top 5 in the Arena League. Seminavilla, who has to be exhausted from kicking to this point, 6, making 7 extra points, finally misses 1. We'll return after these words from the Omni Hotel at Centralplex. Call 1-800-THE-OMNI for information about their Starstruck package.
Orlando, Florida.
Up quarterback Brian Brock drives the length of the field, and Jerry Odom scores the 8th touchdown of this game for the Predators. Off the screen, stunning Cersei. Out across the 10 to the 14-yard line and hauled down by Brian Moore.
Brian Moore did a heck of a job and really came down like a wild man, destroyed the blockers, got knocked down, got up and came back and made the tackle. You know, that's what you call getting after it.
48 of Orlando's 55 points. Now, 48 of 55 have come off of turnovers. 2 touchdowns scored tonight by stripping the ball free on kick returns. Not that time, however. And Guidry fires complete to Wyatt Harris for a gain of 8. Second down.
You've got two teams that one is going home, the other is going on to the championship, and they really want to look like the champion. They want to serve notice tonight that they are in there to win the overall championship, and they're doing a great job of it tonight. They're coming after you, special teams, offensively, defensively. They're doing all the right things.
On second down and needing a pair. Guidry, hey, nice catch out there. Wyatt Harris steps out of bounds in Orlando territory at the 23. He juggled the ball but held on. Derwood Rockmore came up quickly, and with those big defensive backs, you have to be quick when you latch onto the ball.
Yeah, this is just a hitch route where Harris comes out, makes the catch, stays with it, and then does a good job of running with the football. You know, it shows a lot of niftiness there.
7 minutes and change remaining in the third is Wyatt Harris out of Southern University. Trots out this way. His 5th reception now in the books on this game. The draw, sweeping is Lindsey. Lindsey run hard into the wall on the near side by Brian Moore. A little Moore will get after you. You spied that earlier.
Yeah, he looks like a kid that hasn't had a lot of playing time, and he's really trying to make up for it here tonight. He really does a great job of coming after it.
How's that for a collision? That wall doesn't give a lot.
I don't think they could put enough padding up to lessen the blow.
To entice Nat Moore down to the field. Guidry, the quick pitch. That's caught on the hook by Brian Wiggins. Rockmore hit him around the knees.
But this is a good drive by the New Orleans football team. They're taking their time. They're patient. They're moving it down the field. Just the quick passes. They're looking for the open guy. Giving these little nifty receivers a chance to catch the football and try and break the tackles. You know, if they can remain patient, they can get the football into the end zone.
A gain of 7. Guidry now has fired 17 completions tonight. He has also fired 3 to the other team. Called interception. Nothing for Mike Lindsey. He'll lose yardage. And Bill Stewart, the linebacker, led the charge for Orlando. That sweep never developed.
That's just Orlando's defensive line playing football on New Orleans line, on the New Orleans side of the line of scrimmage. As you can see, they're getting penetration. And they're around the ball, gang tackling. Everybody's getting in on the tackle. They're having fun.
Stewart with the stop there. Tonight, New Orleans ground game has netted 3 yards. 3. Brian Wiggins to the 10-yard line. Entering this game, New Orleans, throughout the season in 9 previous contests, had rushed for all of 114 yards. Total. That's not 1 ball game. That's not 2 games. That's 9 games, 114 yards.
That's a perfect example of just how tough it is to run the football in this league. And if you don't have that great offensive line and things are not going good for you, it's even tougher.
And Guidry capped the drive with a touchdown. He's close to the first down marker, connecting with Elliott Cersei. And Cersei is fighting for his mark. I think he's shy of it. Tony Scott was there to hop on his back and carry him into the boards.
It's going to be 4th down, but Guidry's doing a good job of staying with things that are working for him now. You know, he just steps back, quick drop, and then gets it out to Cersei and gives Cersei a chance to try and get the first down. No, he can't do it all on his own. He has to have some help from the receivers as well as that offensive line.
Trailing 55-6 with 4 minutes to go in the third quarter. Mickey Guidry has taken his second timeout, second of the 3 allotted, to be certain he can pick up the first. Back in a moment here on Sunshine. Paul Kennedy, a pleasure to have you with us. 55-6 here. It's 4th down and a yard for Mickey Guidry. Guidry keeps it, throws, no, incomplete. The ball was free. If it hits the wall and stays in play, it's still a live ball. But ruled no, incomplete. And that was New Orleans' best shot, the fake into the line to Lamar Davis, and Guidry booting it on the run pass option.
Now, that's another indication of New Orleans just feeling that they're not a good enough football team to go up and gain a yard. You know, they come with the trick play. The Orlando team smells it out. They've got pressure on the quarterback, and he just have to throw it away and hope that Bryant can make or Harris, shall I say, can make a great catch.
Brian Brock returns. Ben Bennett is done and now awaits the playoffs. Barnsley with the flag down. A big hit laid on him by Lolo James. A gain of 4. Carl Pagnelli. And a crackback, if you read his lips, on Orlando.
Legal crackback. Number 1, Orlando. Penalized. Replay to down.
That'd be Brian Moore. You aren't allowed to block down below the waist.
Right, that's a way of protecting the football players, because here you have Moore going down, and you know you can end the guy's career here when you're going down around the knees, and the league has tried to come up with rules to try and protect players from that.
Wagner dropped it. Hit him right between the 8 and the 2 on the slanting route and popped right back out. Second down. Let's listen in on that Predator huddle. And again, the rock music is blaring in the arena. Did you hear anything in a huddle like that?
I know it's on 2.
Underneath the run. A play that Orlando, believe it or not, scored on. If you weren't with us in the first quarter.
Now that's the same play that Ross scored on when they ran the fake screen, tight end eligible, and he was able to take it to the left of the football field. This time, New Orleans was setting on it.
It's on 2 again. I got that part. It's awfully noisy in here. 10,000 fans having a great time. It's tipped, incomplete, intended for Brian Moore. And Orlando fortunate that Henry Miller for New Orleans did not pick it off. Brock has misfired now, incomplete 4th straight times, has completed only his first 2. Fourth down, and rather than sending Simonibilia out, Brock will try and pick up the first.
No,
Simonibilia's out there.
He's in.
This will be a 61-yard attempt by Simonibilia. And it's through the hands of Brock for a safety. Why not? We have seen just about every other way of scoring tonight. Why not a safety on a field goal attempt from your own end zone that's muffed on the hole? It went right through Brock's paws.
Well, here's just Brock not really concentrating, not paying attention. Ball goes through his hands, and just another miscue, but one of the few miscues that Orlando's had tonight.
So 2 on the board, 55-8. And Orlando will have to kick it. We are in the Orlando Arena this evening on Sunshine Network for Orlando Predators football. And it has been Orlando from the get-go. 35 points in the first quarter and 14 more in the second. And Simon-Avelia ready to boot it. Off the netting, Searcy will play it. Had a hole that opened up had he been able to get past Barry Wagner, but he could not, as Wagner for Orlando made the tackle. There was a shoot unfolding in front of him.
Yeah, Searcy is doing a better job of handling the ball coming out of the net and getting upfield with it. If they would have been able to do this early in the ball game, it might have been a closer ball game. You know, the turnovers early is what really took New Orleans out of the fight of the game tonight.
Less than a minute remaining here in the third for Guidry and the Knights. In motion is Searcy. Guidry goes his way. That's a first down and more. Lunging across the midfield stripe and into Orlando territory at the 22. Sails Elliott Searcy. That's a gain of 18 yards.
And New Orleans was sitting back. New Orleans caught him sitting back in a soft zone, and Guidry did a good job of setting up, throwing the football. Searcy catches it, gets upfield, gets 18-yard gain.
His 5th catch tonight. Trailing 55-8. Guidry again airborne, diving for the ball as Searcy, and the catch is ruled complete to have been made at the 12-yard line. There is some confusion. Orlando did not think the ball was caught as the horn sounds ending the third quarter. Looked as if he dropped it. Let's see if the officials change their call when we return on Sunshine here to a very happy Orlando Arena.
Before your copier gets the best of you, get a better copier.
It's a bird.
It's a plane. It's Super Chuck.
If you've been flying around looking for the best tire value in Florida, fly no more. Because at Tire Kingdom, you'll get the absolute lowest tire prices. With Tire Kingdom's 3-way price guarantee, you can't make a buying mistake. And at Tire Kingdom, you'll find the best selection of tires anywhere, the fastest, most professional service in town, and hard-working people who really appreciate your business. So fly on.
Having a ball in Orlando, 55-8 your score. The Predators leading the New Orleans Knights. And you will see that the Guidry, the big number on him, Nat, to the right of the screen, those 4 interceptions.
Well, that's what we discussed earlier. You know, Guidry has had to stay away from the interception, the turnover, and he has not been able to do that. And some of it is his inability to throw the ball, but more so, he's not getting the protection, and it's making it very difficult for their team to get started.
Here, feeling the heat, he unloaded it to Brian Wiggins. And Wiggins is down to the 5. Guidry took a shot from Rusty Russell in his backfield, managed to get it away, although he's limping a bit.
Right, he's taking a shot every time he goes back to throw the football, and you know, your quarterback can't last that way. As you can see, there's a lot of pressure coming up the middle. And he gets it away, but just as he's throwing the football, he's getting hit once again.
A gain of 7 there for Guidry, who now goes over the 200-yard mark. 201 yards, 201 unofficially by our count tonight. Second down, the pitch. Wyatt Harris, traffic that he attracts. There were black shirts all over him. a yard. Osorio Jackson was the first one there.
I'll tell you, when you see pick number 77, Rusty Russell come out and get the pursuit and is right there when the hit's being made, getting in on the pile. You're talking about big guys that want to play. They're hustling. You know, they're up 55-8, and they're not laying down. They're trying to turn it on. That's a sign of a winning football team that's looking toward the playoffs.
Trying to convert on third down. The pitch again. Was Alvin Williams going to throw it? Well, he gets thrown down by Derwin Rockmore. It appeared he was going to throw the ball into the end zone, and Rockmore would have nothing to do with that.
Right, they had a little trick play there where he was going to throw the football, but Scott wasn't fooled. Tony Scott stayed at home, and once again, William had to eat the football when Rockmore came in and made the tackle. Right there, you see he's trying to get the ball to Wyatt Harris, but Tony Scott stays at home and plays the defense the way it's supposed to be played, and another big play for the Orlando Predators.
The drive now begins to stall. It is fourth down. After the loss before, Guidry gets it away, and jumping too soon, Alvin Williams. Incomplete. Had he timed his leap into the air more accurately, he may have made the catch. He went up and down, and then the ball went off his fingertips.
Well, in defense of Alvin Williams, he made a great effort. The ball was behind him. He tried to come back and go up and catch it with his left hand. But as you see, once again, Guidry is getting hit just as he's releasing the ball, so he's not able to throw it accurately. Eventually, Williams turns around, tries to make the great catch, but it's just a rough night. Nothing's going right, and New Orleans is looking to go home.
55-8. We're 12 minutes and 5 seconds away from going home. Reginald Warnsley with the sweep and a big gainer. It's big in the Arena League when you can pick up 5 or 6 yards, and that's what he did. Henry Miller, the corner, came up, turned it in, hit him around the knees. And when a knee meets a helmet, that can ring your bell, can't it?
Well, not only does it ring your bell, but you can end up with a broke neck or a major injury here. And this is just poor tackling there. You know, you got to lock up, and you know, when you throw your head out there like that, you can end up. I play with guys that had that injury where they
get stingers,
broke their neck, and et cetera. And I just hate to see a guy do that because it's no fun at the end of the evening when you're sitting in the hospital.
Mike Lindsay sweeping right, Lamar Davis. Or rather, Wansley sweeping, and Lindsay and Davis on the side. A good look at Lamar Davis out of Youngstown, a former Penguin.
Well, I must say that this time, this is a lot of class by Coach Perry Moss of not trying to run the score up. They're running the football more so than throwing it the way they normally would.
Just the short hitch there dropped by Aiken. Yeah, Perry has played everybody this evening, but Brock has misfired 5 straight times. What Perry needs to do is get Brian Brock some work here so that, knock on wood, heaven forbid anything would happen to Ben Bennett, he would have a quarterback capable of winning in the playoffs that begin next week.
Well, I think he wants to do that, but he also don't want to get accused of running the score up. You know, he's giving him some easy passes, some that he should be able to complete, but you know, they've been trying to work on running the football as well.
The intended receiver was Berkey Walls. Richard Estelle, number 89, stepped in front of it. Should have had the interception, dropped the ball. That's now 6 in a row. Incomplete by Brian Brock, who's a great guy. With a bit of a Texas twang, played for the Red Raiders in Lubbock, Texas. And played sparingly this year. That right? 9.5 minutes remain in this game. Brock backpedaling on third down. And it's caught for a first down by Carl Aiken. He's been quiet for a while. Now makes some noise. First down, Orlando.
Well, I think the receivers in general have been quiet. They've went to Wagner quite a bit, but you haven't heard much tonight from Berkey Walls, as well as Carl Aikens. Carl Aikens had a touchdown early in the ball game, or had two. But after that, it's been all Brian Wagner.
Brock ends a dry spell in which he had fired 7 straight times incomplete. Now 3 for 9 for 46 yards, and the numbers there on Carl Aikens. One touchdown catch was a 14-yard reception that opened our scoring early in this football game. It came from mid-minute. 1 of 4 been fired tonight. Brock to Wansley out of the backfield. And Reginald pulls his way inside the 6-yard line. Lamar Davis from the defensive line made the stop. It's 2nd down and 2.
Good job of setting up a screen to the right out there and getting those big linemen out front. And Wansley doing a good job of catching the football and turning upfield. As you can see, out front, he's got all 3 of his offensive linemen, and they're doing just a good job of walling everything off and giving him ample protection.
8 minutes remaining in a 55-8 game. Brock brings Aiken in a step, sends Walls in motion this way, and the draw to Wansley, lunging for the first down. Reginald Wansley earning the first for Orlando, and the Predators enjoy now 1st and goal. Richard Estelle cutting down off the draw.
I think it's pretty safe to say that Coach Barry Moss has done a great job of mixing his plays up, and if Arizona is going to be the team that they'll play in the playoffs, they've got their work cut out for them when they look at these game films.
And the fact that Orlando scored 71 points against Arizona. Hey, here's Brock fumbling into the end zone. It's picked up, scooped up by D'Artagnan Wise, and he'll bring it out of the end zone to the 5-yard line. For the first time tonight, New Orleans recovers an Orlando fumble. And there's timeout on the field. And a new quarterback for the New Orleans Knights, Danny Keaton. Fumble snap from center, and he'll pounce on it at the 1-yard line. Jerry Odom was right there. The basic center quarterback exchange was booted. Danny Keaton has not thrown a pass this year. Not played. He's in here on the final night of the regular season, and just 6.5 minutes remain in this 1992 campaign for New Orleans. Flags down again. Harris there. A pass into the flat in front of Orlando's Tony Scott. And New Orleans moved prior to the snap. Orlando will decline the penalty. It'll be 3rd down.
Motion. Penalty on the offense. Decline. 3rd down.
For the first down as Harris looks with us for the first down marker. He did not get there. About 8.5 yards. The first down marker is not being held up, so it's difficult to see the point he needed to reach. In his defense, there was not a member of the crew out there, and now he's just arriving. Is this a part-time job, guys? So when Harris ran his out route, well, he did pick up the first. He couldn't see where the marker was.
All right. But you've got to have a clock in your head, knowing how far you've got to go, and you usually, as a good receiver, you pick up 2 or 3 yards farther than you have to go, so that if you push back, you still got the first down. There, he did a good job of getting the first down, and
55-8. Incomplete, flags fly. The pass intended for Estelle. Broken up.
Danny Keaton is really having a tough time on that center quarterback exchange. He's bobbled the ball twice and was able to hold on to it and still get the pass off, and he's already put it on the ground once. So they're really having a tough time, and it's just unfamiliarity of the
holding on the offense, pass interference on the defense, quickly, offset each other, replay the down.
Yeah, the quarterback is really having a tough time of trying to get that quarterback exchange, and I think that's because he didn't get a chance to come out and take any snaps early. Once again, you'll see him bobble the ball, and he doesn't get a clean exchange, and he comes out, he's trying to get outside, and it's hard to set up and throw the football.
His center, Eric Byers, again bobbles the snap from the center, doesn't cheat. Byers can't get into it. And I think what's happening with number 84 in Byers there is that he goes into his pass protection stance. I mean, drops his rear end right into the football, and the quarterback and Keaton can't get it out from under him.
Well, I think Keaton is taking that quick step also. He's trying to get out of there. He's trying to get a quick drop, and, I think they both are having problems. Well, he's pulling out as well as the center's not getting the ball up to him.
Nat, you hold clinics and camps to train football players all over the world, actually. Maybe you can visit New Orleans here and teach these guys how to snap the football. They could use some help with that.
Well, I think that if that's the case, what I'll do is I'll find Dwight Stevenson and bring him in, because he's one of the best to ever do it. To be able to snap the ball and get upfield and destroy whoever's in front of it. Now, that was one of the great pleasures of my career, playing with a guy like Dwight Stevenson.
New Orleans having called timeout. Take time tomorrow night. It's 7 o'clock to join Sunshine for the Kerrygold Royal Dublin Horse Show. 1 hour coverage of the Nations Cup and 1 hour involving the Grand Prix of Ireland. 2 hours in total of the best in international show jumping here on Sunshine. They have just unfurled the 1992 Southern Division Champions banner that Orlando, with this victory here tonight, will earn by clinching the Southern Division, outdueling Tampa Bay for the honor. Our congratulations to the Predators on what will be a 9-1 regular season.
Now, this has been one great year for Orlando football. You look at the Predators earlier this year, what they were able to do with the World Football League.
And the Thunder.
And the Thunder.
And tomorrow night here, the defending Super Bowl champion Washington Redskins pay a call and square off against the Miami Dolphins. They've changed centers. As New Orleans, Carl Thomas, the starters, had to go back in there. Keaton guns deep for Harris. Broken up incomplete. Batted away by Tony Scott, who was whipping stride for stride. And Harris bumped the wall as well.
Yeah, Harris really took a shot going into the wall. He laid out. He really went for the football. And, if you watch here, head goes into the wall, and it's a good thing they've got that padding. We're very fortunate that he didn't break his neck here. But that's a guy not quitting, going after the football, trying to make something happen, even though they're completely out of the ball game. But I'd have to think that someone forgot to tell Danny Keaton that Scott has 2 interceptions already, and he's not the guy to go after.
Has also scored a touchdown. Keaton back the other way. Incomplete contact between Elliott Searcy, the intended receiver, along with the defender Osorio Jackson. We're down to 3 minutes and 5 seconds.
It's legal to bump as long as you look for the football. You see here, Jackson looks back for the football, and it's no pass interference.
4th down. And Teddy Garcia on to attempt the field goal of 56 yards out of the hold of Keaton. Garcia off to the right side and short, and Wall cannot make the catch. He goes through his guards on a play. As good as a punt for Garcia. Misfiring from officially 56. 2 minutes and 23 seconds from the finish line, and what will be for Perry Moss and his team their 9th straight win after a season-opening defeat. How tough is that to do when you get off on the bad foot to come back so strongly?
Well, it's very tough because you usually go into a season feeling good about yourself and you lose the opening game, and sometimes that's a wake-up call, and I would have to say that for Orlando it was a wake-up call. Since then they've played great football, and you know, tonight is just another example of that, and even being ahead, they're still turning it loose. They're not backing down. They're not taking anything for granted, because usually when you start to slacken up is when you get hurt. And the worst thing can happen at this point is to have one of their players get hurt, so they're still turning it loose.
Odom on the carry, Miller on the tackle. Orlando with 35 unanswered points in the first quarter. Ben Bennett hurling 3 separate touchdown passes, one to Akins, one to Big Jeff Roth, and a third to Barry Wagner. Carl Akins recovered a fumbled kickoff return by Searcy for a score, and Simonavilla did the same. And it's Brian Moore in the distance for the touchdown.
This is a trap. Great blocking on the right side of the line, and he goes for the score.
A 37-yard scoring shot by Brian Moore. 61 points by the Southern Division champion. Simonavilla has kicked 7 extra points this evening. He has scored a touchdown.
Timing rules in effect.
He is also misfired on 1 PAT. This to make it a 62-8 football game with an even 60 seconds to play. They're a man short. Brian Moore, who scored the touchdown, fronted off the field. He has to come back out. Come on back out here, Brian. Orlando's been forced to call timeout. He was over there to enjoy the high fives and the congratulations. Tell him how he did it. He forgot that he was on the extra point team. Timeout on the field. Will pause as well. Orlando, as Brian Moore has just raced 37 yards down the sideline for a touchdown. Untouched by New Orleans. Simonavilla on to add the extra point. The snap, the spot, and the kick is good. Simonavilla's 8 PAT tonight, and the score swells to 62-8. That more, we've been handed our ballots. Who would you vote for as the MVP of this game?
I would have to go with Tony Scott. He's just been all over the field tonight. He's made big play after big play, came up with several interceptions, and has a touchdown run. So he gets my vote.
How about the Iron Man two-way player of the game, as you see Tony Scott there? Do you have any thoughts on that? Barry Wagner had a huge game. He caught 6 passes, but they all came in the first half.
Well, I think Barry Wagner, without a doubt, is one of the top guys, but you also got to give some of those guys on that offensive and defensive line a lot of credit.
Pick one.
I think that Weeby Burnett has done a great job, and Rusty Russell, you know, they all have been in the backfield time after time again while giving Ben Bennett great protection on offense. So
Weeby Burnett is it then.
Weeby Burnett.
There you go. I just filled him in there. He'll be the Iron Man of the game, according to our ballot. Tony Scott, the MVP. Simonavilla found an interesting way to work off that extra weight, kicking all these PATs and kickoffs and scoring a touchdown. Matt, we've really enjoyed having you with us tonight here on Sunshine, and I hope you've enjoyed your introduction, if that's the case, to the Arena League.
It's been fun, and it's really exciting. I've played 13 years, and 13 years I've never seen anything like this where, you know, as a receiver, and the fan support, because it's continuous excitement, and I think it's fun.
Less than a minute remaining. So many people to thank on our crew this evening, including our producer, Tom Hastings. zone. Hey, that's caught. Running room for Elliott Searcy across midfield. Leveled by Brian Moore at the 19-yard line. What a lick by Moore.
Well, Brian Moore is all over the field. He's celebrating. He's making big play after big play. He goes down. He's not in the play, but he hustles back. He doesn't give up on the play, and he's just waiting for Rockmore to turn him to him, and he delivers the big hit.
Tom Barbary, our statistician tonight. Rick Newstreet, our spotter. Our thanks to Kenny Cavanaugh as well, and to Bill Moore, our technical director, one of the best in all the business. Jeff DeMoss, our stage manager here. Michael Monavani, Ray Bruno working with us.
You know, you really have to give Danny Keaton a lot of credit for standing in there and delivering the football under pressure in a mop-up position when the game's out of reach and means nothing, but he's standing in there and throwing strikes.
This will probably be the final play of this game. 10 seconds remain. Keaton, guns tapped into the air, incomplete, 4 seconds to go. For just a moment, with Scott and Rockmore converging defensively on Harris, I had a flashback of our final play of the first half when Rockmore picked it off, a Guidry toss, lateral to Scott, and he ran the length of the field for a touchdown. With all the running room they had here on the near sideline, I thought, not twice in a row, not twice in the same game.
Well, tip ball, and he could have been off to the races once again, and you know, they just do a great job of playing good team defense there.
Flags down. 1.9 ticks left in a 62-8 blowout.
Procedure penalty on the center. 3 yards.
New Orleans will finish the year as the only team in the Arena League not to have won a game. 0-10 for Vince Gibson. He deserved better than that. He's a great guy. Orlando 9-1 and bound for the playoff. Friday night, tickets available. The game right here in the arena. Last snap, perhaps. It's a live ball, and it's picked off by Tony Scott for a touchback, his 4th interception of the game.
I'll tell you, he has had a game of all games. You talk about hat tricks, but what do you say when a guy picks off 4, runs one in for a touchdown, and you know, didn't go to sleep when the ball came off the net. He knew that it was still alive, and you know, didn't give them the chance to try and put a trick play in on him to end the ball game.
Your final this evening is Vince Gibson and Perry Moss both managed to smile. 62-8 in the Orlando Arena. The celebration continues in the Orlando Arena. Rusty Russell leading the chorus of "We Are the Champions" as Orlando, by routing New Orleans, has captured outright the Southern Division crowd. We welcome you back on Sunshine Network and say hello. With Nat Moore, I'm Paul Kennedy, and it was wild from start to finish this evening here in Orlando.
Well, you looked at 2 teams. One team that was not going to be denied. They wanted that championship. They wanted to win the division. And another team that really was looking to go home, and when things didn't go right earlier, they decided they were going to quit.
Talk about things not going right. Time now for our Toshiba replay of the game. And how about this, as it's brought to you by Toshiba and by the Southeastern Copiers. Toshiba, where the copy is as good as the original. A kicker scoring a touchdown on a kickoff.
This is every kicker's dream. You have Alvin Wyatt, Williams running the football, and once again, Tony Scott comes up, makes a big play, scripted above it, and Jorge grabs the football and turns runner. he is now 3rd fullback on the roster.
Like that, amigo, Jorge Seminavilla with our Toshiba replay of the game, brought to you by Toshiba and Southeastern Copiers. Your final this evening, 62-8, in a game that was tough to copy here on Sunshine Network. We invite you to join us for our next telecast of the Predators in action. Game number 1 of the playoffs, a week from tonight. We'll be on the air live at 7:30. There are tickets available.
The
fake and